Today, okay, as we are done with the arterial system of the lower limb, today we'll learn about the venous drainage of the lower limb, right? Venous drainage of the lower limb. We may not discuss every vein in detail, okay, but the we'll have just the overview of the venous system of the lower limb, and then in detail about the great saphenous vein. That's it, right? Learn the overview and everything will be known to you. Okay, so in the artery usually supplies the muscles, right? But whereas the vein, we call it as drainage, right? Vein collects the deoxygenated blood, right, and empties into the larger vein, right? So there are some factors that help the drainage of the lower limb, because the lower limb veins works against the gravity, right? All the venous blood, they have to pump all the way to the inferior vena cava, right? So there are some factors that help those drainage. The contraction of the calf muscles, right? This is the most chief factor. It is called as soleus. Okay, there is a venous plexus present in the soleus muscle. Okay, that squeezes the blood upward along the deep veins. Note, the calf muscles acts as calf pump or peripheral heart. Okay, so the soleus plexus. Okay, they are called as peripheral heart. And the second thing is transmitted pulsations from the adjacent arteries, and presence of valves in perforating veins prevent the reflux of the blood into the superficial vein during contraction of the calf muscles. We'll admit some, right? And the presence of valves in deep veins supports the column of blood and maintains unidirectional upward flow of the blood, right? So there are valves in deep veins, valves in perforating veins, right? Negative intrathoracic pressure becomes more negative during inspiration and yawning. Okay, you learn this in physiology. Okay, the pressures during respiration, okay, which also sucks blood from lower limb. In recumbent position, this force is produced by the contraction of the heart and suction action of the diaphragm. Okay, you will encounter all these mechanisms during respiratory system also. So all these factors helps maintain the drainage of the lower limb against the gravity, right? These veins pumping the blood against the gravity with the help of the calf pump and with the help of the pulsations from the arteries, adjacent arteries, and with the help of the valves. Okay, so whenever these fail, there will always be a pathology waiting for that. And there are three types of veins, right? Superficial, deep, and perforating veins, right? Superficial veins, deep veins, and perforating veins. The superficial veins essentially include great and small saphenous vein, right? Lie in the superficial fascia, right? You all know this because every one of you attended the dissection, right? On the surface of the deep fascia are thick walled because of the presence of the smooth muscle. Okay, this is not as thick as the artery, but there is some smooth muscle. They possesses walls, okay, which are more numerous in their distal part than the proximal part. A large portion of their blood is drained into the deep veins through perforating veins, right? These are superficial veins. And the deep veins include anterior tibial, posterior tibial. You see all the names of the veins are the names of the arteries that are adjacent to it. That's it. All the deep veins are nothing but the same artery. Okay, anterior tibial artery and anterior tibial vein, posterior tibial artery, posterior tibial vein, fibular artery, fibular vein, popliteal artery, popliteal vein, femoral artery, femoral vein. That's it. Those are the deep veins. They are surrounded and supported by the powerful muscles. They possess more valves, right? They accompany the arteries, right? Below the knee, they are arranged as pair of venae comitants along the artery, but above the knee, they are single large vein. Okay, below the knee, they are like anterior tibial and posterior tibial, like that. All the veins from the muscles draining into deep veins also possess valves, except those in soleus, right, where they are arranged in the form of venous sinuses. Okay, soleus sinus are venous plexus of the soleus, right? Coming to the perforators. Okay, perforating veins pierces the deep fascia, connect the superficial veins with the deep veins. Okay, so these are the perforating veins. Their wall permit only one way flow of the blood. Okay, from superficial vein to the deep veins. Always remember this. There are about 5 perforators along the great saphenous vein and 1 perforator along the small saphenous vein. The venous blood of the thigh and leg, okay, observe carefully. The thigh and leg flows from the superficial to the deep veins, being directed by walls of perforating veins within the thigh and leg. Okay, however, in the foot, venous blood flows from deep veins, okay, that is in the sole or in the plantar aspect, to the superficial veins, that is on the dorsum of the foot. Okay, so deep plantar arch, from deep venous plantar arch to the dorsal plantar arch, sorry, dorsal venous arch. Okay, within the foot, from deep to the superficial or dorsum of the foot, whereas in thigh and leg, they are from superficial to the deep. Okay, you see, this is the whole venous system of the lower limb in schematic representation, right? This is the dorsal venous arch, right? So this dorsal venous arch, medial marginal vein, lateral marginal vein, remember this. Okay, from these two arises the great saphenous vein. Okay, see, beginning of great saphenous vein. Okay, it goes all the way to empty into the saphenofemoral junction, right? Femoral vein, it empties into the femoral vein. Okay, from the lateral end of the arch, small saphenous vein that turns into the popliteal vein. Okay, the popliteal vein collects into the femoral vein only. Okay, so you see, peroneal vein, posterior tibial vein. Okay, peroneal vein. See, this is the perforator, right? And they are the perforators. Okay, this is the venous system of the lower limb. Coming to the great saphenous vein. Great saphenous vein lies in the superficial fascia and is easily seen. Okay, saphenous means seen. Great saphenous vein is the longest vein of the body. Okay, you are all well versed with the great saphenous vein, right? And represent the preaxial vein of the lower limb. It is also called as long saphenous vein. And course, it is formed in the dorsum of the foot by the union of the medial end of the dorsal venous arch foot and medial marginal vein of the foot, right? The veins run upwards about 2.5 centimeters in front of the medial malleolus, crosses obliquely by the medial surface of the lower third of the tibia, and then ascends a little behind the medial border of the tibia to reach the knee, where it lies on the posteromedial aspect of the knee joint, about 1 hand breadth posterior to the patella. Okay, you all know this point. Okay, we have rehearsed it hundreds of times, right? From here, it runs upwards along the medial side of the thigh to reach the saphenous opening, fossa ovalis. It passes through the saphenous opening after piercing the cribriform fascia and drains into the femoral vein after piercing the femoral sheath, right? So you see, this is where it starts, right? Starting of the great saphenous vein, okay, 2.5 centimeters, and again it crosses like this. So we'll see, right? So this is the great saphenous vein, right? This is the arch, right? From arch, middle end of the arch, arises the great saphenous vein, right? This is the medial malleolus, right? And it is going in the medial aspect of the tibia, right? That is the great saphenous vein, okay? Medial aspect of the tibia and crossing the somewhat posteromedial to the knee joint, okay? And courses along the medial side of the thigh, okay? Courses along the medial side of the thigh, okay? Before it empties into, sorry. Okay, before it empties into the femoral artery, femoral vein. So that one is the femoral vein, right? This one is the great saphenous vein emptying into the femoral vein, right? So it pierces femoral sheath and cribriform fascia in order to empty it into the femoral vein, right? So that is its course, okay, simply from medial side, okay, that is. Coming to the tributaries, we call it tributaries rather than branches. In the artery, we call them branches, but in the veins, we call them as tributaries. All the tributaries empty into the vein, right? At the commencement, medial marginal vein of the big toe in the leg, okay, communicating veins between small saphenous vein and deep veins, and posterior arch vein. It is fairly large and constant. It collects the blood from the posteromedial aspect of the calf and begins of a series of small venous arch connecting the three medial ankle perforating veins, okay? So that is posterior arch vein, okay? So you see, so this branch is posterior arch vein, okay, on the calf, right? That is posterior arch vein, right? And in the previous diagram, we have seen the three ankle perforators, right? Medial ankle perforators of Cocket, okay? Medial malleolus and between medial malleolus and medial calf, right? So these are posterior arch vein. Sorry. Okay, it is fairly large and constant. It collects blood from the posteromedial aspect of the calf and begins of a series of small venous arches connecting the three medial ankle perforating veins, right? That is the tributaries in the leg. And below the knee, anterior veins of the leg, they extend diagonally, upward, forward, and medially across the shin and join the great saphenous vein. Right? You see? Upward, forward, and medially. Okay, this is the one you are watching the anterior tributary. Right? This one is the anterior tributary. Okay, emptying into the great saphenous vein. Right? Anterior veins of the leg, and below the knee, a few veins from the calf which communicates with the small saphenous vein. In the thigh, okay, in the thigh there is anterolateral vein, commences in the lower part of the front of the thigh, crosses the apex of the femoral triangle and joins the great saphenous vein in the upper part of the thigh. Right? So this one is you are seeing the anterolateral, right? This one is the front of the thigh and lateral side of the thigh, right? Anterolateral tributary of the great saphenous vein. Okay, it is emptying into the saphenous vein, right? You see this. Sorry. So you see this one is the that is the saphenous vein. Okay, so this is emptying into the saphenous vein, right? Anterolateral vein, right? And posteromedial vein, also called as accessory saphenous vein. It commences from the posteromedial aspect of the thigh, joins with great saphenous vein. Sometimes it may communicate below the small saphenous vein. Okay, posteromedial vein is not represented. Okay. Okay. Just before piercing the cribriform fascia, we all know this. Okay, superficial epigastric vein, superficial circumflex iliac, and superficial external pudendal, and corresponding branches from femoral artery. Right. Just before termination into the femoral vein, there is deep external pudendal vein, drains blood from the anterior part of the perineum. Right. This is easy for you. So you see. This one being great saphenous vein, right? And this one is posterior arch vein, and this one is anterior leg vein. And you see this is the anterolateral vein, right? This is posteromedial vein, right? This one is posteromedial vein, but not so. Okay, that one. Okay, and you know the superficial branches: epigastric, external pudendal, circumflex iliac, right? We dissected all these well, right? So you see these are the medial ankle perforators, right? That is with the great saphenous vein, right? Postvenous arch, anterior tributary, anterolateral and posteromedial tributary, right? And there is a thoracoepigastric vein. It runs along the anterolateral wall of the trunk. It connects superficial epigastric vein, okay, with the lateral thoracic vein. That means it is a communication between femoral and axillary veins, okay, upper and lower limbs. There is a connection between upper and lower limbs through the superficial epigastric vein, which anastomoses with the or connects with the lateral thoracic vein of the axillary vein, right? Coming to the valves, there are approximately 10 to 20 valves in the great saphenous vein, out of which location of 2 needs special mention. Okay, one which lies just before it pierces the cribriform fascia, right, and another which lies at the junction of the femoral vein. Okay, saphenofemoral junction, that is called a saphenofemoral valve. Okay, so the saphenofemoral valve is of great functional significance. It lies 3.5 to 4 centimeters infralateral to the pubic tubercle. In about 80% individuals, the external iliac vein possesses a valve which protects the saphenofemoral wall against high venous pressure, right? In remaining 20% cases who do not have this wall, which wall? External iliac, okay, becomes the victim of high venous pressure and develop varicose veins. Okay, so if they don't have valve in the external iliac vein, okay, that means all the blood flow in the venous system, they flow back into the saphenous veins, right? So they develop varicose veins which commence at the saphenofemoral junction and gradually extends downwards. Okay, we'll talk about it later. Coming to the small saphenous vein, right? It is formed below and behind the lateral malleolus by the union of the lateral end of the venous arch and the lateral dorsal digital vein of the little toe, right? Okay, so you see that is the small saphenous vein, right? It runs upwards and empties into the, okay, here it empties into the popliteal vein, right? So that is small saphenous vein, whereas in the medial side there is great saphenous vein, right? It runs upwards behind the lateral malleolus along the lateral edge of the tendocalcaneus and is accompanied by sural nerve on its lateral side. Thereafter it runs in the middle of the back of the leg, pierces the deep fascia, undergoes a subfascial course between the two heads of the gastrocnemius until it reaches the middle of the popliteal fossa. Here it runs inwards to terminate at the popliteal vein. The posterior femoral cutaneous nerve accompanies the upper part of the vein while passing from deep to superficial. The small saphenous vein contains 7 to 13 valves. So there is lateral ankle perforator. This is tendocalcaneus, right? Small saphenous vein, right? Coming to the perforating veins, they are communicating venous channels between superficial and deep veins called perforators because they perforate the deep fascia, right? There are two types, indirect and direct perforators. Indirect, they connect superficial veins with the deep veins through muscular veins, whereas the direct perforators, they connect superficial veins with deep veins directly, right? You see, this is the soleus muscle, okay, this is the venous plexus, okay, muscular or soleal sinus, okay. So this is called as peripheral heart or cough pump. This is the deep vein, okay, this is the superficial vein. You see, this one is the perforator vein, okay, this one is the perforator vein, whereas this perforator vein is a direct one. Here it is indirect one, okay, because these superficial and deep veins are connected by perforators empties into the sinus, okay. So there are some perforators which are constant and you have to know that. An adductor canal perforator, Hunterian perforator, connects great saphenous vein with the femoral vein in the lower part of the adductor canal, okay. Then a knee perforator called as Boyd perforator Great saphenous vein with the posterior tibial vein just below the knee and close to the medial border of the tibia. Lateral ankle perforator. It communicates the short saphenous vein with the peroneal vein or fibular vein. It is situated at the junction of the medial and lower third of the leg. The medial ankle perforators of Cocket. Okay, there are three. These are situated close to the medial border of the lower third of the tibia between medial malleolus and the medial calf and connect the great saphenous vein with the posterior tibial veins. So, great saphenous vein and posterior tibial vein. Okay. Upper medial ankle perforator, middle medial ankle perforator, and lower medial perforator lies at the junction of the medial and lower third of the leg. It lies 4 centimeters above the medial malleolus and it's posterior inferior to the medial malleolus. Okay. Coming to the deep veins. The deep veins of the leg in the tight fascial compartment of the valves along the arteries. The major deep veins of the lower limbs are medial and lateral plantar veins. Okay, venae comitants accompanying the dorsalis pedis, anterior tibial and posterior tibial arteries, popliteal vein and femoral vein. Right. So whenever the walls of veins, so these walls of the veins are one of the main factors. Okay, one of the main factors in the venous flow against the gravity, right? If the walls are good, the flow will be very good. Okay, that valve is called as competent valve. Okay, if the valve is not good, okay, it is not functioning well and not functioning properly, it is called as incompetence of the valve. So because of the incompetence of the valve, so valves only allows only one way flow of the blood. Okay, and they prevent the backward flow of the blood, right? So whenever the valve becomes incompetent, that means it's not functioning properly or not functioning correctly. That means there is the backward flow of the blood.
Sir.
Right? Okay. Whenever the valve, you see, this is the closed valve. Okay, blood flow. Okay, there is only unidirectional flow. Okay, unidirectional flow. Is my screen share aitunda? Okay. Okay. See, this one is the closed valve. Okay, the valve is closed. Okay, there is no backward flow, right? There is no backward flow. You see here the valve is open. Okay, right? That means the valve is incompetent. Okay, incompetency of the valve. Okay, see, okay, there is the valve is open because of the incompetence. Okay, there is backward flow of the blood. Okay, backward flow. Okay, what happens, this blood will be there, okay, stagnated blood. So that what happens